Okay, the next sample is the stitched and pinked seam. I was told to cut out one 5x5 square, so I have my square already ready. I'm going to go ahead and cross off that I completed that first direction. The next direction says take that square and cut it in half. So I am going to fold that square in half. And then I am going to cut it in half. I'm going to go ahead and cross off my direction that I completed it. The next direction says join right sides together. So right sides should be kissing. So I'm going to take my fabric, and here's the right side and here's the other right side, and I'm going to join them together so they are kissing. Once I have them kissing, I'm going to go ahead and cross off that direction. Next, the next direction says line up the edge of the squares with the 5/8 inch mark. It's the third line or the very first large line. So I'm going to take the edge of the fabric, either edge, and I'm going to line it up with the 5/8 inch mark. Okay, a closer up view, the 5/8 inch mark is the third line, 1, 2, 3, or it's the very first long line. So I'm going to line up my fabric with that long line. Now that I have my fabric lined up on the 5/8 inch mark, I'm going to go ahead and sew from one end of the fabric to the other, like the direction is asking for. Do not forget to backstitch, and you're backstitching at both ends. The entire time I am following that 5/8 inch mark. My eyes should be on the line at all times. Don't forget to backstitch. Make sure your take-up lever is up before bringing it out. Trim. And now I should have a 5/8 inch seam, backstitched at both ends. You can go ahead and cross off those directions. The next direction says take one of the flaps by itself of the seam and sew a 1/4 inch line from the cut edge. So here is the two flaps of my 5/8 inch seam. If I can open it, there we go. Here are the two flaps. This is what the seam looks like on the other side. So it looks like that. That would be like a similar seam that you would have on your outfit. Just like that, it would look like that on your outfit. So I would take one of the flaps, and I am going to sew a 1/4 inch line from the cut edge. So this is your cut edge. I am going to line up this edge right here with the 1/4 inch mark on the sewing machine, which is the side of the presser foot. So right now I have one of the flaps by itself. There's nothing else underneath it. And I have it lined up with the 1/4 inch mark of the sewing machine. And I'm going to sew from one end to the other, and I'm going to back stitch since it is asking me to stitch. And again, I am following the edge of the presser foot right here. Since that is the 1/4 inch mark. When I get to the end, I am going to back stitch and then make sure my take-up lever is in the up position. So I've just completed sewing one of the flaps by itself, looks like this, And I'm gonna go ahead and do the other one as well. So I'm just gonna kind of flip it over, make sure nothing is underneath it, and I am going to do the same thing to the other side. Line this up with the 1/4 inch mark, which is the side of the presser foot. And then I am going to sew from one end to the other and back stitch. Make sure your take-up lever is up before bringing it out. Trim the threads. The more threads you trim as you go along, the less there is at the end. So, something that's important that I highlighted was stitching will not show on the right side of the sample. So if this is what my sample looks like from the outside, as you see, there is no stitching on it whatsoever. The stitchings are only on the flaps. The last direction, or second last direction, says take the flaps and take the pinking shears and trim off the excess on both edges. So I'm going to go to the supply area and I'm going to grab a pair of pinking shears and I'm going to trim both edges. Okay, pinking shears, if you remember, have the zigzags on the edge of it. So I'm going to take one flap at a time and I am going to trim with the pinking shears the edge. So my edge should look like this. And it should have the zigzag on them. As you see, I did not go over my stitching line. I'm going to do the same thing to the next flap. Turn it around. Take my pinking shears. And I'm going to trim off that edge as well. The next direction asks for it to be pressed open. So I'm going to go to my ironing board. I am going to open it like this and I am going to go press it down. Once I have it pressed, I am going to staple it with my work showing on my page just like this once it is pressed. And then you may go on to the next sample.